Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This weekend is what I'm deeming the stay busy weekend for the heavyweight division because we have a lot of very good fighters in action, but the opposition that they're facing, well, not so much. It sort of seems to be a lot of gatekeepers or flat out journeymen. So there is the likes of Luis Ortiz in action, Filip Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez, Zhilei Zhang, and Evgeny Romanov. So we'll start, though, with Luis Ortiz. So he will be facing Alexander Flores, and this is topping a PBC card on Fox. So this, I think, in line with some of tune-ups that Ortiz has had in recent years, say against the likes of Razvan Kajanu, for example. I think this is going to end early, probably under 4 rounds or so. And that would be in line with fights that Flores has had with the likes of Joseph Parker as well as Charles Martin. Those are his 2 career losses. So Flores, he was pulled in at relatively short notice. The original opponent was meant to be Scott Alexander, but Flores answered the call a few weeks ago and he is fighting Ortiz topping this bill. So it should be a standard sort of victory for Luis Ortiz. And Alexander Flores, I do have some comments of his up on the channel from the media call that was held ahead of this fight, so do check out that video. But Luis Ortiz to win this one, and by stoppage is my prediction. And I guess the what next for Luis Ortiz is interesting because he's 41 years old. He won't just want to be in a series of tune-ups. Hopefully we do see a big fight in 2021 for Luis Ortiz. Talk of Andy Ruiz, but Ruiz had said he wants a tune-up before facing a guy like Ortiz, and he hasn't had that tune-up yet, so I guess watch this space. Also on that card, you have Frank Sanchez. He will be facing Brian Howard. Brian Howard, a former cruiserweight. Sanchez right now 15-0, a man on the rise, 28-year-old Cuban. Very fast, good technical skills, good right hand. He should win this one comfortably enough. Next fight, Michael Polite-Coffie. He's also featuring on the same card. He'll be facing Joey Abell. And this might be the most competitive fight on the card itself. We'll have to see. Coffie at the moment 10-0. He can punch. He was in a fun fight against Luis Pena recently. Looking forward to seeing what Joey Abell can do against Coffie because Abell is a big puncher, has been known to spring the odd upset, and Coffie will be looking to advance to 11-0. So that could be quite fun. Also on the undercard as well is Carlos Negron. He won't be in a televised fight, I believe. I think it's those first 3 that I mentioned that is on the televised portion of the card. But Negron, he will be facing Rafael Rios. And you may recall this date, November 7th, it was talked about a number of months ago that he would be facing Damani Rock. Don't know what happened there, but that fight obviously hasn't gone ahead. And also on that card, a 5th heavyweight fight, not televised, I don't believe, Steven Torres versus Joshua Tuani. Currently, Steven Torres 3-0. Okay, so turning our attention to the next card, this is a Matchroom event also in the United States. It will be broadcast on DAZN. So you have Filip Hrgovic. He will be facing Rydell Booker. So this card is headlined by Devin Haney. Hrgovic Booker is one of 2 heavyweight fights on that undercard, the other being Zhang Zhilei, the Chinese heavyweight, versus Devin Vargas. But we'll start with Hrgovic facing Rydell Booker. Booker, he's fought guys like Jermaine Franklin and Kubrat Pulev more recently, beaten in those, but he did have his moments in those fights. But I think this one here, Filip Hrgovic, 11-0, a man on the rise here. He needs to get the win, look good, and stop Rydell Booker. And that's something that he has vowed to do. Says he has more power than Kubrat Pulev. And based on that Pulev fight, it appears that Rydell Booker can be hurt to the body. So do expect to see maybe some body shots coming in from Hrgovic if they've reviewed some tape there. But also, he is looking for a big right hand at any opportunity as Filip Hrgovic. And I'm sure there will be some opportunities. But Booker, he is a bit slippery and awkward in terms of being a decent technical operator. So perhaps he'll make it a little bit more tricky and uncomfortable early on. But I do expect Hrgovic to catch up with him at some point and probably stop him. And the other heavyweight fight on the card, as I mentioned, Devin Vargas versus Zhang Zhilei, the Chinese heavyweight. So this is a case where Zhang Zhilei, who's really had a bit of a slow burn type of career, he was with Rock Nation, that sort of really didn't sort of pan out for him. He's unbeaten at 21-0, but we haven't really sort of seen him in the bigger tests that he needs to be in. He has passed one okay test in terms of Andre Rudenko and Devin Vargas. This fight is sort of much of a muchness in terms of being on that sort of level, although I would pick Rudenko to beat Vargas. So in Vargas, a gatekeeper type fighter. So in Devin Vargas, we have a guy who's got a record of 22-6. He's a gatekeeper type of opponent, much similar to Rydell Booker, gatekeepers, both of them. And it would be good for Zhang Zhilei to go in there, look good, and get a stoppage against Vargas, who most of his losses, 5 of his 6 losses, have been by stoppage. So that would be a good look for Zhang Zhilei. And another heavyweight fight this weekend, this is in Russia, Evgeny Romanov. He is back in the ring after more than a year out. Obviously, a lot of heavyweights right now have had some sort of extended absence because of the pandemic, but Romanov, he hasn't been in the ring since August 2019. So he will be facing a pretty faded 44-year-old Siarhei Liakhovich. So this should be a win for him and probably a stoppage in the first few rounds. Liakhovich last spotted against Simon Keane. He didn't look great in that fight, but neither did Keane. But I do think that Romanov is better than Keane. He is currently ranked in the WBO top 15. This should be a knockout win, probably under 3 rounds. I'd be surprised if it went any longer. Although Liakhovich back in his day was a good fighter, but well removed from that now. So as I say, it's kind of the weekend for the stay busy. It's a shame that some of these fights are not more competitive. I would have much rather have seen Luis Ortiz versus Frank Sanchez, if I'm honest, and also Filip Hrgovic versus Zhang Zhilei. They would have been much better fights. I know who I would have picked in those. How about you? Well, what do you make of the weekend stay busy tune-ups? Let me know. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.